Since Repair Clinic encourages you to perform this procedure safely, a warning icon will appear when you should use caution. For many gas range repairs, you will need to disassemble the appliance. Before you attempt this, be sure to unplug the power cord or shut off the power supply. You should shut off the gas supply as well. You will also need to pull the range away from the wall so you can access the rear of the appliance. To remove the oven door, fully open the door and rotate both door hinge locks back. Partially close the door, then lift and pull the door toward you to remove. With the handle side down, set the door on a sturdy surface. If you need to replace the handle or door hinge, use a Phillips head screwdriver to unthread the 3 screws on the bottom, securing the inner and outer door assemblies. With the screws unthreaded, you can slide the outer door assembly off of the inner panel. To replace the handle, unthread the screws to release the vent trim and handle from the inner panel. Unthread the door handle mounting screws, and you can fully remove the old handle. When installing a new handle, transfer the spacers from the old handle to the new one. Now align the trim on the handle and spacers. Then thread and tighten the mounting screws. Align the handle and trim assembly on the inner door panel and secure it with the screws. Slide the outer oven door assembly into position on the inner panel assembly. Thread and tighten the 3 screws at the bottom. When replacing any oven components, first remove the racks. To access the bake burner tube, use the Phillips head screwdriver to unthread the 2 rear mounting screws, securing the bottom panel. Lift the panel up from the back to remove. To uninstall the bake burner tube, unthread the front and rear screws securing the tube. Lift up the tube and disconnect the spark electrode wire to fully remove the tube. Be careful not to let the electrode wire slip under the lower panel. Before you install a new bake burner tube, confirm that the air shutter is open the same amount as the old shutter. Now transfer the spark electrode from the old tube to the new one. Thread the screws to hold it in place. Returning to the oven, connect the wire to the spark electrode. Position the burner tube over the orifice. Then thread the front and rear screws to secure. Replace the bottom oven panel by aligning the front edge first. Then lower the panel and thread the mounting screws. Replace the oven racks. Reinstall the oven door by inserting the door hinges into the hinge slots at a 45-degree angle. Lower the door to its fully open position, then rotate the hinge locks forward. To reach components like the temperature sensor or door switch, use the Phillips head screwdriver or 1/4-inch nut driver to unthread all of the screws, securing the lower rear access panel. Lift the panel up and out to remove. To replace the door switch, first disconnect the door switch wire connector. With the oven door open, depress the retaining tabs and push the door switch free of the rear panel. Pull the actuator rod out of the hole in the front panel and detach the old switch from the rod. Install the new door switch by hooking it onto the actuator rod. Then feed the rod through the hole in the front panel and snap the switch into place on the rear panel. Connect the wire connector. To access control panel components, unthread the screws to release the upper rear access panel. Pull the panel down to remove. If you need to replace the control board, note the orientation of the wires connected to the board. Then disconnect them. Disconnect the ribbon connector as well. Unthread the mounting screws to release the old board. Install the new main control board by aligning it on the support brackets. Then thread the mounting screws. Connect the wire connectors to the appropriate terminals. Connect the ribbon connector as well. Reinstall the upper rear access panel. Reinstall the lower rear access panel. To fully access the burner valves, orifice holders, or spark module, you will need to remove the main cooktop. To do this, carefully lift off the two grates. Remove the burner caps from the left and right side burner bases. Lift the center burner base straight up to remove. Use the Phillips head screwdriver to unthread the two screws, securing the center orifice holder to the main cooktop. Next, Unthread the screws securing the 4 remaining burner bases to the cooktop. Lift the bases up and depress the tabs to release the spark electrode wires from each base. Make sure the wires don't slip below the cooktop. Now pull off all 5 control knobs. Open the oven door and use the Phillips head screwdriver to unthread the 2 mounting screws, securing the front control panel. Lift the panel up and out. Unthread the 2 screws securing the main cooktop to the support bracket. Lift up the cooktop and unthread the screw to release the spark module bracket. You can now fully remove the cooktop. If you need to replace a burner valve, rotate the spark switch to pull it off of the valve. Use a 1/2-inch wrench to unthread the nut to release the gas supply tube from the valve. Next, unthread the 2 manifold mounting screws. You can now unthread the screw to detach the clamping bracket and remove the old burner valve. Install the new burner valve by aligning it on the manifold, then position the clamping bracket and thread the screw to secure. Reposition the manifold and replace the mounting screws to hold it in place. Insert the gas supply tube into the valve and thread the nut. Be careful not to damage the tube by over-tightening the nut. Align the spark switch on the valve. Reinstall the cooktop by first aligning the spark module bracket and securing it with the screw. Fully position the top, making sure the orifice holders protrude through the holes in the top and the spark electrode wires are accessible. Thread the 2 lower screws to secure the cooktop. Reinstall the front control panel by aligning the slots in the panel on the mounting bracket tabs. Thread the mounting screws to secure. Realign the control knobs on the valve stems. Replace the screws to secure the center orifice holder to the top. Reposition the center burner base on the orifice holder so the spark electrode aligns with the notch in the base. Reinstall the remaining burner bases by first connecting the spark electrode wires. Then position the bases and thread the screws to hold them in place. Realign the burner caps. Replace the grates by positioning them on the supports and gently lowering them. With the reassembly complete, turn the gas supply back on and plug the power cord back in or restore the power supply. It's a good idea to make sure the flame height is properly adjusted after installing a new burner valve. You can do this on any of the valves by setting the burner to low, then remove the control knob and secure the burner valve stem with a pair of pliers. Using a 1/8-inch non-flared flathead screwdriver, rotate the adjustment screw inside the stem clockwise to decrease the flame height. And counterclockwise to increase the height of the flame. With the flame properly adjusted, the gas range should be ready for use.